Sorry guys, a couple of technical issues this morning. Hopefully we can get around those. Sorry, let's just go back to. Okay. What we're going to talk about this morning is the program that I've been running out South Campus and how it came about and the reasons why it came about and how we evolved over that time. So I'm going to speak this morning a bit more about the program and how it's kind of progressed. Firstly, I just want to show you this. So in 1896, that was the height of technology, and it was probably one of the first kind of exposures to augmented reality and virtual reality, if you like. So, you know, whether the audience ran screaming when the train came into the station is a matter of debate, which we won't discuss today. But really interesting to think that's where we've come from. So where are we today? So. That handsome young gentleman on the left there is, as we know, is Tom Cochrane here. And I've been working very closely with Tom over the years on technology and how we can bring new and emerging technologies and his expertise within our program. As we're going through, if you would like, if you've got time, and if you can get the Wi-Fi connection, which I can't, there's an app. Free downloadable called Layar, L-A-Y-A-R. If you'd like to download that at some point, because there is a slight bit of interaction in this presentation. All right, so if you don't know where we are, this is where we are at South Campus, AUT in Manukau. Okay. So at the start of the semester, when we was going to start running this program, so we was going to start running workshops within the graphic design program, we first wanted to find out what the students knew. What technology was they using? What apps were they using? Before we make any assumptions, because we can assume so much as educators. You know, we think they should learn this, we think they know this, but we really wanted to, you know, figure out what they really wanted. And interesting discussion from our first presentation this morning around ethics. So here at AUT, you know, we're under the impression that everything that's going to be published, if you're using students or people's ideas or evaluations, that you have to have ethics. So because we was going to be publishing from this, we thought, okay, we're going to get ethics, so we did. If any of you have gone through the ethics, it's quite a lengthy process, but well worth it at the end of the day, because it does actually make you reflect on what you're doing with your research as well. So these are some of the questions we did on a SurveyMonkey, which turned out to be quite interesting. So, do you consider yourself a digital native? Around about half, and you know, no WTS, which was great. So they are half switched on. Okay. What is your age? Primarily, we've got school leavers on our program, so we've got about 85%. And Manukau, which is different from the city, we do have a little bit more kind of maturity in our students as well. And this is really interesting. If you compare the two programs from Manukau to the city, there's a lot more females in the city, perhaps touching about 85–90%. So the split is almost equal on our program in Manukau. Okay, so we're going to start asking them the questions now about their devices and so on. So, what mobile devices do you own? Okay, obviously very high in the iPhone area, not so much on the Android. As graphic designers, as students in the graphics field, they are more kind of Mac orientated. This is really interesting to see. A lot of our students now are having their own laptops. There used to be a big thing certainly in our school, because maybe 3 or 4 years ago that would have been a lot lower, and they rely on their Macs in the studios. Now we're finding that students are coming to class with their own laptops, which is great. And again, the Android tablet not so popular. iPods have also dropped off a little bit. I think that's purely because of the technology in phones these days. What type of social media accounts do you use? Well, no guesses there. Facebook. Every single student uses Facebook. Just hands up those who use Facebook here. Okay, notice how my arms are down? I don't, never have done, didn't want to. Twitter, YouTube, view only, and also this is YouTube upload as well. This is coming into their first semester, third year survey. There was a project we run in the second year where they get the students to make moving image pieces. So that's why that's a lot higher. If it wasn't from that project, that would have been a lot lower. But viewing stuff is quite high on YouTube. Instagram, this is becoming a lot more popular now. Instagram, with actually a lot of students are using it for portfolios. WordPress, now this is unusual. WordPress is quite high. Again, that's due to the project that run in the second year, because we got them to blog and to use WordPress as a reflection and a blog area. I have an example of that on this presentation, which I can show you. So if it wasn't for that project, that would have been a lot lower as well. And Snapchat and Pinterest. Okay, what types of mobile apps do you use? Interestingly, emails. Now, the only way we can actually connect officially with our students is via email. And so they're using it a lot for getting notifications via that. Obviously, text, web browsing, their calendars. So they start to use these mobile phones more and more as not just as a means for for texting their friends, but actually using it as an actual tool, like in, for instance, YouTube. So you can see very much on the go where they go with their mobile devices. Have you used any of the following mobile apps in formal education? Again, this is a reflection on the second year. For instance, Blackboard, they wouldn't have used that. And augmented reality, again, that's an interesting one, which we're going to come on to. And have you had any experience with mobile augmented reality? Well, we all know what happened with Pokemon Go, don't we? People walking into the middle of the road at night, which was a bit of a problem. Yeah, so that was interesting. Have you had any experience of mobile virtual reality? Again, this is coming back from a project we run in the second year. As you can see, Google Street View is very, very high. I'm going to show you an example of that and why it's so very high. Okay, and we did have some 360 kind of presentations as well, and which we'll come onto as well. So, why did we introduce augmented reality and virtual reality into our teaching, and what is the program about? So the Visual Communications program at Manukau, so this is a program that is a combination of, if you like, traditional graphic design and a more contemporary style of moving image. which also integrates new and emerging technologies. So, visual communication itself, how can our program contribute to local community and help build and enrich students' global networks? So what we're saying by that is, how do the students engage within their local community, how do they express within their local community, but equally, how are they communicating on a global network scale? So, question, what is a graphic designer? The reason why I'm saying this is because there's a misconception about what a graphic designer is. So if we go straight to the dictionary, we're going to get something like this. A graphic designer is a professional within the graphic design arts industry, and assembles together images, typography, motion graphics to create a piece of design, blah, blah, blah. So basically they're just throwing stuff together is what this terminology is saying. So it's the art or skill of combining text and pictures. So you get text, you get pictures and put them together. That doesn't really say much what a graphic designer is, and it certainly doesn't say what a graphic designer is in the 21st century. And where as a teacher, I think graphic design should be going. So this is all part of the you know, what is graphic design and where is it going, and how do we incorporate that within our teaching model? So with that, we're exploring new pedagogy strategies within that. So we're building student capacity to navigate the unknown rather than contemporary to perform what is traditionally known. And we've actually spoken about this earlier this morning, you know, this kind of, you know, pushing the boundaries, if you like, of where education is going. Okay, so with that, we started to incorporate these ideas within the brief, and this was part of the ethics approval that we've got as well, where we can use some of these examples. So it's about social awareness and problem solving, and it's not just about making things look good, okay? So, part of this project that we did, this was the second year project that some of these reflections have come up in the survey. The project was around graphic design, and it was a concept using concrete poetry, where the student had to go outside of their classroom, outside of the university, into their local community, find an area within their local community that had specific meaning to them, and they used that as the graphic elements for reflection. So they make, they reflect, and they show their work in progress. And what we've done with Google Street Maps and Google Street View is that we get the students to publish all their stuff online within Google Maps. Now you can, these points here, these are all the students, this is all live, well not live here, but you can go online and find it. So you would click on any one of these, which is then going to bring up all the students' work. Not just their finished work, but all their reflections as well. And what I'm about to show you is an example of that. So here's the list of the students down here. That should be moving. There we go. So here's a list of the students, and these are the students' names down here. So we're just going to click on, say, Gabby. This brings up her blog reflection, her Vine, a video she made, and panoramas, and the address. So this is one of her, it's not the finished work, this is the reflection of her work.
Place can represent human emotions and display meaning through its design and physical property. I have chosen Runwood Avenue Car Park because the building is adorned with strong angular wedges that barricade the outside and have two parallel towers. It also displays a peculiar phrase on the towers, which is odd because it does not fit the character profile of the building. The text shown on the towers are written in neon cursive and display a mori he whakatauki that means love in, love out. This phrase is special because it opens up speculation. Love in, love out are opposites that conflict each other and remain harmonious, just like black and white or yin and yang. This is important because it displays a juxtaposition, which naturally becomes the motif throughout the design of the building. The building is concrete and cold, whilst the text is bright and romantic due to its media and design. The feeling of isolation against warm invitation. Using the Fukutoki and the theme of juxtaposition has led me to the concept of unhappy relationships, which will be the driver of my concept. I will explore the idea of showing unhappy relationships because relationships are a concept of togetherness, and for it to be unhappy opposes the idea. The two towers are distant and face away from each other and display messages of togetherness, a juxtaposition. My idea is to personify them into human entities and address the story these two people can have. I will be exploring the emotional tension of toxic relationships and the emotional states of loneliness. Loneliness in a relationship will be the focal point of my project.
So what she's actually doing here is actually discussing about what her project is and how it's transposing. What we're trying to do also with this is get rid of the paper trail, if you like. So how we used to teach this program is there was what we call a workbook, so there will be a reflection in that, and inside that workbook they'd have all their notes and all their progressions about how they've got through it over the semester. And what I found with that, they used to fudge them, so they would do the work and then know they had to hand in a handbook, so then they would work backwards. You know, they would do that at the end. Well, what this is doing, it's forcing them to do the process work at the beginning. And by putting a video in it and putting it online just makes that process a lot easier as well. What we're looking at here, this is the Randa, and she came across this vacant car lot, and that vacant car lot spoke to her, and it spoke to her because she found an old mattress in there and evidence that someone was living there. So there was a homeless person that was actually living inside of this car park. So she chose that as a reflection, and what she's done in her poem, she's created. She wrote this beautiful poem as well, and she made it as a silhouette of the person, as if that person was living in there. And this was a series of posters, and these also augmented as well. So there was further content behind the posters, and it was picked up by the local press. And it was also used as part of the big sleep out in Auckland as well. Did anyone manage to download their thing? No. All right. So if you click on layer, you might have to come a little bit closer to do it. Then this will activate. It should try it. Give it a go. See if it. So if you tap on it, that's it. Yeah, hold it. Keep it there slowly. There we go. There we go. Oh, the shadow might be fine. Sorry, I'm about the way.
I see the context.
It's doing something.
Yeah.
Is that what it's supposed to do?
Yep.
We don't want to make a shadow.
Point back to see content. Like that? Is that what's meant to be?
Let's have a look.
Point back.
You might have to get a little bit closer. You see that shadow?
Yeah,
I think it's throwing it. Okay.
Who's making the shadow?
Yeah. All right. Sorry. Okay. Try. Just try that. Try it. See if you can pick it up on that. There we go. Slow down. We don't sound okay. So you see it's moving.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
So that's it's working on this. So I think if you basically that's like a large QR code. So it's activating it. So this was an augmented poster that the students designed for their end of year exhibition. So This is a really good example of how we use an augmented reality within graphic design.
Yeah. Oh, it is so cool.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whereas graphic design is primarily being print-based and is still print-based, is how can print also work with new and emerging technologies? So that was the process behind this. This might be an easier way of showing you an example. So these are the posters on the wall, and this is just a phone screen. This is what should have happened with that poster. So the moving image content is behind that. So this is a printed poster, and as you can see, the so their message is and their moving image is shared behind that. And so what we have to do with the graphic design student, they're creatives, they're not techies, they're not, they don't want to know about coding, etc., etc. So the trick is to find something that's quick and easy to use. So that's why we chose layout. This is their end of the year promo video. This is what's bits of their work. I don't know why I'm showing this. I think it's just nice. So it's just small clippings of their moving image pieces. And these are all based on social issues. So rather than the graphic designer just being in that corporate world, we're looking at how can the graphic designer have a voice for society. Okay. So where from here? Now, Jin showed us earlier some examples of 360. We've also been. So this is the student. Let me just pause this for a second. All right. So we did have some 360 cameras. So we gave the students these we loaned them the 360 cameras, and they went. We said, okay, go out, experiment, come back. What was it, about 15 minutes, something like that, Tom? Yeah. So just a quick thing, go out, this is the camera, what can you show us in that time? And they come back with some amazing things. So this is one.
Maybe want to mouse around on the side of the
Yeah, I will do. I'm just going to make that larger. So the camera's in the middle, and now I'm just going to scroll this through. Look. So I'm scrolling this through, as you can see. So right. So the camera's in the middle, and they're just having fun. Yeah, I mean, I think that's just great. You know, when the students are actually just going and having fun. Sorry, I've gone on too long.
Okay.
All right.
We've probably got time for maybe one.
All right. Sorry.
Question. No, it's all right. One or two questions, but if you just want to wrap up and then, sorry.
Yeah. Well, that was very much the last slide. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, David. Got time for a couple of questions.